Thank you so much for taking time to watch this short video, but more than that, thank you for being open to God's next step in your journey, the possibility of being a leader in the children's ministry. As a leader in the children's ministry, you would recognize that this is a way that you are part of God's mission in our church, in our city, in our world. It's a way that you will join Jesus by bringing life to everyone, everywhere, every day. And we are excited for you to be a part of that. We know that as a leader in children's ministry, that means that you take your role and commitment to serving seriously, knowing that it makes an eternal difference. And this means that you recognize the difference serving has made in your life. You see the growth that's happened in you and you want that for others. So as you're talking with other people, you're constantly thinking, how can I get this person plugged into serving? Are they serving somewhere? How can I help them find their fit so that God can do in them what He did in me through serving? Which is amazing. As a leader in children's ministry, you're also an example to others. So as an example, that means you need to have a growing relationship with Christ. This means that you're attending church regularly. You're spending daily time with God through prayer and reading the Bible. You're part of a small group. Honestly, if you just think about those signs between the auditorium and base camp, if you're doing those 5 things, chances are you're having a growing relationship with Christ. They're not boxes that we check, but they are definitely avenues through which God works in us so that we can be growing in Him and so that our lives can be an example to others. But for some of you, that may be a little bit intimidating. So here is what we are not saying.
What we are not saying is that you have to be perfect. And what we are not saying is that you can't have areas of struggle in your life. We are not saying that you can never mess up. But what we are saying is,
we are saying that as leaders in the children's ministry, we're trying to live out God's word. So that means where our life doesn't match up with the Bible, we ask God to work in us and change us so that our lives do match up with the Bible. On the most basic level, we're asking you to live out the 10 Commandments. And you can find a complete list of them in Exodus 20. But the basics of them are that they're about our relationship with God and our relationship with others. For instance, the first commandment, no other gods before God, this is saying God should be first in our life, just like that GF sticker that most of us have on our cars. But this also means we don't have any addictions or anything else in our life that's taking the #1 place. Whatever is in our life comes behind God in priority in our lives. Or, for instance, the 7th commandment, to not commit adultery. Really, the long and the short of it is, if you're married, you're only sleeping with your spouse, and if you're not married, you're not sleeping with anyone. As leaders in the children's ministry, our desire is to be able to say, like Paul said in 1 Corinthians 11:1, follow my example as I follow the example of Christ.
Your example is important. There's just no denying it. People will be looking at you, and they need to see a committed follower of Christ who wants to honor God with their life. An honest, humble person who believes that God's way is the best way. And even though they fall and stumble, they pick themselves back up and keep going on this daily walk of a God-first person. For some of you, this may be an off-ramp. It may be when you realize this is not the time for you to be a leader. But I pray, Jenny and I pray, that it's just the opposite, that you will be even more excited to be used by God, warts and all, as we say in Oklahoma, that you are ready to lend your helping hand as a leader in children's ministry. Your next step is to do something very important, and that's to pray. And once you have prayed and are ready to meet with your leader, I guarantee they are so anxious to meet with you. Thank you for your time that you've given us today. We are so honored to be able to serve with you.